Now to 1988 and this moment in cinema history.
You've got the wrong idea about me, Mr. Valiant. I'm a pawn in this, just like Roger. Can you help me find him? Just name your price, and I'll pay it.
Yeah, I bet you would. You gotta have the rabbits to make the scam work.
No, I love my husband. You've got me all...
Jessica Rabbit there in the live-action animated comedy Who Framed Roger Rabbit? The acclaimed Oscar-winning animator who made that film possible, Richard Williams, has died at the age of 86. To look back on his influential career, I spoke to the British film critic James Luxford and started by asking him why that film in particular struck such a chord with fans and filmmakers alike.
I think it was the technical prowess of it. You know, it's easy to, in the modern era where anything is possible in film, to realize how difficult that was to animate 2D animation with a live action setting. And really, there is a direct link between things like The Avengers and Roger Rabbit, because you had to tackle a whole raft of new problems with this kind of sophisticated animation. Characters interacting with different lightings and different environments. You know, we had sort of things like Gene Kelly dancing with an animated mouse before, but that was quite basic in comparison to the numerous challenges Richard Williams faced on that film, and it's why it's so revered and seen as sort of a forerunner of things like motion capture and CGI animation now.
But it wasn't just Roger Rabbit that he was well regarded for, was it?
No, not at all. He'd already won an Oscar over a decade before Roger Rabbit for an animated TV version of A Christmas Carol. He was also a prolific animator of title sequences in the 60s and 70s, Casino Royale, which starred Peter Sellers, of course, and the fourth and fifth Pink Panther films, which also starred Peter Sellers.
And he had a huge influence on the animation industry as a whole, inspiring people with his experiences.
Absolutely. In 2001, he wrote the Animator's Survival Kit, which was an enormously influential handbook, just exploring every aspect of animation. And I was just reading a quote from Chris Wedge, the director of Ice Age and Epic, very much of the new school of CGI animation. He called it just enormously influential and talked about how in his animation rooms in the days after it came out, the approaches changed, the techniques changed, the attitudes towards certain techniques in animation were just completely different, because I don't think anybody had consolidated this kind of wealth of knowledge. And that was what was so wonderful about Richard Williams's career, in that he may not be a marquee name, but if you're an animator, you just have to look on Twitter to see how many people learned from him, learned from that book and from his advice and from his work.
If there was one thing you think, this is what somebody like Richard Williams will be remembered for, what is that thing?
I think possibly Jessica Rabbit. That's a moment in cinema, that introduction of the character, the singing scene. So I think both his mastery in things like Roger Rabbit and his generosity of spirit and passion for animation in the knowledge he passed on.
Get out of here.
She's married to Roger Rabbit.
The film critic James Luxford speaking there about the life of the film animator Richard Williams, who died at the age of 86.